a few weeks back, I made an Instagram post on 3 workouts or athletic fitness workouts that I would do if I had less than 20 minutes to train. When I was younger, I always had lots of time to train. Now that I'm a little bit older, I have 2 kids, time is not always what it used to be. And so a lot of times I'm caught with less than 40 minutes to work out, sometimes less than 30 or 20. And so you really get to the essentials of what you're doing in those situations. For me, I had an Instagram post highlighting these 3 workouts, and there's really 3 categories in my mind when it comes to what I would call athletic fitness. And to me, fitness, as a definition, it's really more the thing you do that prepares you for life. I don't think it is not the end movement practice that you should do. For example, you don't lift weights because that's your life's goal, is to lift weights and be strong. I do think it's good to be strong, but ideally you find meaning in things that are more human-like in nature, such as playing games, ball sports, parkour, dance, something that there's a level of competition and maybe a little bit of chaos to it. We could also put individual sports in there. And I think that strength sports could be meaningful for many people. But ultimately, I think for the majority of human beings, lifting weights and just being strong is not the end goal. You train for the movement practice you really enjoy. For me, the 3 categories of athletic fitness are almost a little bit of both. But let's get started with them, and I'll tell you my thought process in these like 20-minute quick workouts, the 3 of them, and then just the general categories and how you could take them in different directions. So the 3 workouts that I listed, one would be a quick sprint warm-up and run 3 by 150 meters, around 85% with walk back or maybe walk back plus recovery. The second would be 10 to 15 minutes of groundwork, so crawling-based work, and if you have 20 minutes, you could fill in just take breaks to total up 10 or 15 minutes. Really just put 10, 20 minutes on the clock if you have the time and take some breaks. But groundwork being just versions of crawls, maybe a little bit of like break dance type variations, movement flow, ground flow type things, just moving on the ground using your hands and your feet. The third category would be 20 minutes or so of extreme isometric training. For me, my favorite 3 are the iso lunge, iso push-up, and I really enjoy the iso standing straight leg raise because for me it fits with sprinting and then track and field competitions a little bit more so than perhaps like a hang, which would be a close 4th place, or an iso hang, and all the other movements available. So those are my 3. And in reality, the 3 categories of athletic fitness, you have one, locomotion, so something that's related to locomotion, which if you play a sport of any type, you are going to need some level of locomotion. And the way I see it, there's nothing wrong with distance running or 5Ks or running half marathons or anything like that. But in terms of youthfulness, I do believe the fountain of youth is fast twitch. And obviously, we don't hold on to our fast twitch muscles forever. I'm not going to be 80 years old still having the same fast twitch muscle ratio and running under 12 seconds in the 100-meter dash. But the more we can hang on to what we have, we can retain fast twitch fibers that we have to a degree. Obviously, it will still drop off, but we can have those fast twitch fibers drop off less by doing more sprint work. And at least you'll hear, anecdotally speaking, people who go to masters track meets, generally speaking, the sprinter type folk tend to look a little bit younger and more youthful than, let's say, the people running the 10K. And there is also some sort of evidence that would indicate that doing repetitive, extensive endurance work over and over to a high degree can actually shorten your telomeres. So, again, I'm not trying to say that like marathon running is the worst, but I just think if you do marathons, you should diversify your movement portfolio. That shouldn't be the only thing you do. And if you run, you should run in diverse terrains and things like that. But fast twitch, more the fountain of youth, I believe. So if you can cater at least some movement to sprinting, I think that's great. And for those of us who spend a lot of time in the gym, I think there's nothing more humbling than spending a lot of time in the gym, getting strong, and then going out to the track at some point and trying to do like a 400 type workout, something that's a little bit of speed endurance. And it is very humbling if you've been putting a little bit too much work into the iron relative to your elastic capabilities, your basically your gait cycle, and being reciprocal through your gait, and just training the human body as it normally does in running. You get out to the track and you very quickly feel that lack. So there's just so much good that can come from good locomotion training. Then the last thing I'll say about the sprint type training and work is the sprinting is not just speed, it's also strength. By doing sprint-based workouts, you actually do engage the muscle fibers very powerfully in a way that can help actually make you stronger. It's only going to make you strong, quote unquote, to a point, but it also has a helpful lower body strength component if you reach a certain intensity level of it. So I like a 3x150 because it's a nice intermediary. It's like middle of the road, like it's not like lactate bath 400 workouts. I like the acceleration, like doing like an 8x20 meters and using kind of waves to that type system. Flying 10s, of course, are the method of choice for so many like high school sprint coaches. I think from a fitness perspective, if you're playing a sport, you're getting a lot of acceleration. And to me, going out and being able to run a few repeat sprints in the 150 meter range, it really has a lot of bang for its buck. It's very efficient, and you can kind of build off that if you have more time. The next category, so we have locomotion, and preferably faster twitch locomotion. I also should throw in there like parkour, like forest running. I went to Return to the Source, Rafe Kelly's retreat last year, and that kind of thing with locomotion with obstacles is amazing. I mean, that would prepare you for sport on another level, and it's fun and engaging. I used to also do the 150s over hurdles when they were available. So if hurdles are available, I don't get to the track as often as I used to be able to have access to it. But if you can do 150s over 3 or 4 hurdles, that's like bonus points. The next category would be some sort of all fours locomotion, or all fours movement. We just covered like the bipedal locomotion. So the all fours, and speaking of Rafe Kelly, I saw he had a post or a video where he was talking about this, but because human beings, we have we have 2 hands and 2 feet, 4 points of articulation. To fully use our human engine, we should be doing at least something that engages our hands and feet, not just our feet, like just running a marathon. So really that could be lots of things. It could be like crawling. Of course, crawling isn't necessarily a movement end game. Climbing would be, if like you're a rock climber or doing any rock climbing at all, or even climbing trees. There's 4 points of contact, and there's fun, and there's problems to solve in that. For me, I choose the 20 minutes of groundwork, just because that's the fastest and densest and most effective way to get a lot of work in, using my hands, using my feet, really putting a premium on my spine and my rib cage, and twisting and turning, engaging my abdominals in different ways. Just by doing, you wouldn't believe actually how good of a total workout it is to spend 20 minutes total doing a diverse ground flow type activities. It's also awesome as a warm-up. A lot of times if I'm going to be doing a lifting session, I'll warm up. I'll just put 10, 15 minutes on the clock, fill it with as much groundwork as I can on all fours, trying to get all that work in. You know, if I had a climbing wall, I'd probably do that. You just get some sort of quadruped movement, some sort of thing that's using your hands and your feet, that's getting the most out of that human element. The last thing I would call, where I mentioned the isometrics, I would call it the stillness category. Not really the isometric or even the strength category, but the stillness category. And I think this is important because there is an interesting spectrum, and people hear me talk about play a lot. Play is crucial. It's crucial no matter what age we are. We need to play, we need to have fun. So often training is it's like once you hit a certain age, it's just the grind. Like life's going to smack you in the face, and just training's going to smack you in the face too. We need to play, but there does come a certain age where, you know, all kids 100%, they just want to play. They're not going to be, no kid likes doing like squats and push-ups. And I'm talking like 6, 7, 8-year-olds. I mean, very few. There might be some kid out there that likes that, but kids want to play. Once we get to a certain age, we start to understand what we would call training, or training for movement. We start to understand the importance it itself can carry meaning. And then we start to have training alongside play. The stillness to me it's almost a mix of it's almost like a mix of meditation and quiet training movement. And so the stillness would be, think about like a horse stance in the martial arts. Like it's the stillness, the strength. It's a meditation. And it's important that we spend time in some sort of like relaxed brainwave, some sort of meditative brainwave daily. And so that really can fill that box. And so that's another, that's actually the workout I just did today. I had to watch my kids out in the front yard while my wife was cleaning the house up. And so I just did some isometrics while they were riding their bikes and things like that. And of course, I can't have quite the mental stillness when I'm tasked with knowing where they are, but that stillness, the isometric holds, can really fulfill that. And I think we don't tend to, for some reason, I think we tend to think of all movement, it's either speed or it's strength, or how is this helping me get stronger? And it does, isometrics definitely do, but I think there's also this mental stillness component that also, the stillness helps you recover from all the chaos and the noise of everything else, or think about like playing a soccer game or a basketball game and all the chaos and explosive movement and the emotional, like getting into that emotionally. I believe that some level of stillness practice helps you to unwind yourself and recover yourself from that. So you could also think of things like perhaps like Tai Chi or breath work and anything there. I think isometrics, the things I just mentioned, the three, the sprinting, the groundwork, and the isometrics, they're the most efficient because they fill these buckets, but they bring in a lot of different things. The isos, you get stillness and you also get strength and some basic muscle endurance, and you also get some muscle balance when you do them correctly. For example, an extreme isometric lunge, if you do it correctly and you have the back leg nice and straight, nice and tall vertical posture, and you have this balance of angles, you get a good, nice muscle lengthening effect and a muscle balancing effect. So you get so many good things all in one shot. On the isos, having some sort of box breathing or consistent, steady breathing pattern, such as 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out, is awesome, or whatever breathing pattern you want to have with it. We're just covering a lot of things at one time. So these things are all super efficient. I think they speak to really important athletic qualities that can serve us for a lifetime of movement, and they're three that I enjoy. If there's any like movement categories that you feel are really effective for yourself as you go through this journey we would call athletic fitness, drop a comment below. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on it, and hope you guys enjoyed this one.